Sup, dude? Dennis Rodman is one of my favorite players of all time, mainly because he had one of the most unique skill sets ever. Standing at just 6'7", Rodman grabbed boards like he was 10 feet tall. He was able to do this because he was built like an alien. The dude had freakishly long arms and was deceivingly strong. Billy Corgan, the guy who sang that song about being a rat in a cage, said one time at the club he saw Dennis pick a 250-pound man up with one hand and lift him over a rope. Drugs were probably involved, so Billy could have exaggerated it or saw it wrong, but I'd like to believe it's true. And not only was he a freak in the athleticism department, but he was also a freak in the sheets. The dude broke his penis 3 separate times. One of the 3 penile fractures occurred on a boat with his girlfriend. He went to one side of the bedroom and charged at the, I'm sure, very nice lady with her legs spread open, and then before he got to her, he jumped in the air in an attempt to land inside of her. Spoiler alert, that didn't work. He missed and connected with her thigh instead, transforming his bone dog into a right angle spewing blood. The dude was special. His unique brain paired with his otherworldly athleticism made him a monster on the court. He was the best rebounder in the NBA for nearly all the 90s, leading the league from 92 to 98. The guy was out rebounding giants like Olajuwon and Mutombo. He had one of the weirdest archetypes ever, but that's what made him so cool. Since Rodman, there haven't really been many players similar. That's why I'm so excited for Ausar Thompson. Standing at just 6'5" and 3/4, the rookie wing is already one of the best rebounders in the NBA. Per 100 possessions, the dude's averaging 15.5 boards a night. He can rebound just as well as Wemby despite being a foot shorter. Similarly to Rodman, Thompson's able to do this because he's a freak athlete with long arms. Despite being just 6'6", his wingspan is a ridiculous 7 feet. For comparison, Desmond Bane is about the same height, but he has a 6'4" wingspan. He's a ripped hamster. There's a point in my life when I thought all people of a certain height shared the same length arms. Like, I thought everyone my height had the same length arms as me. But one day I realized that made no sense, so I decided to measure myself. I was about 3.5 inches hard. After that, I did my wingspan, and it turns out I have T-Rex arms just like Desmond. So that was pretty disappointing. Having a short wingspan makes it harder to be a great dunker, rebounder, or defender, but a lot of great shooters like me, JJ, or Desmond have short arms. On the other hand, dudes with long arms sometimes have a broke jump shot. Ausar Thompson is a prime example of one of those dudes. His long-ass arms give him an advantage at so many things, but they don't help with his shot. The dude's made 6 threes out of 38. He lets it fly with absolutely no expectation of making it. Although it's looking pretty rough right now, I think he can work his way up to a solid deep shot. I think this because during the 2023 Overtime Elite Playoffs, he was slinging it at a pretty decent clip. He shot 38.5% on nearly 8 attempts a night. It wasn't many games, but it still shows he's able to do that. While his stroke game is pretty weak, the young man's D will put your jaw on the floor. He's solid at pretty much everything defensively. He's a great shot blocker, he gets steals, and can stick to anyone like glue. He's been giving dudes nightmares out there, and not just average or bad players, he's made superstars go through hell. A couple weeks ago, he put Shea in a straitjacket, holding him to just 5 points on 2 for 8 shooting. Meanwhile, when he stopped guarding him, Shea dropped 27. And Shea wasn't the only star left shaking and trembling from Ausar's D. A bunch of other super talented scorers also fell victim. Being so young and already able to compete with the best of the best is extremely rare. The dude has the potential to be one of the greatest defenders we've ever seen. He's an all-in-one protection device. Kinda like the wonderful sponsor of today's video, Aura. Aura is an all-in-one identity protection service. What that means is while Ausar keeps the hoop protected, Aura keeps you protected. They monitor all your private data on the internet. Like your phone number, for instance. You probably get tons of spam calls, and I know that's super irritating. It used to annoy me so much. I used to get them all throughout the day, and it was extremely aggravating. But after signing up for Aura, the number of spam calls I get has reduced to pretty much none. What they did is they went to all the creepy data brokers online and looked for my number, and when they found it, they removed it. They can do that for you too. What they can also do is remove other super personal information like your social security number or your address. You would never know if this stuff was out there, so that's why Aura is so great. They give you peace of mind and make sure your secret stuff is safe. So dude, if you want to stop getting robocalls or get your social security number off the dark web, Aura's the app for you. They're hooking all my viewers up with a 2-week free trial. You can click the link in my description, which is aura.com/NBAgoober to start your 2-week free trial today. Go sign up, put your passwords and other secret stuff in the vault, and see what pops up. I guarantee you it'll scare you. And big thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. Alrighty, back to Ausar. I wanted to see who he's most similar to, so I hopped on a craftednba.com and plugged him into their similar season finder. For offense, he and Darius Miles, aka aka the Punisher, were most similar. It makes sense, Darius didn't have the best jump shot, but in close he was a man amongst boys. Ausar's very similar. He's such an insane athlete that finishing comes easy to him. Just look at him finish on Capela's face. Similar to Darius, he's shooting 60% at the rim, which according to Google is an elite field goal percentage. His slashing and athleticism are a blessing for transition buckets, but other than that, his offensive potential is still up in the air. The dude's a complete goober. He's a wing who gets his buckets like an interior big. As of the recording of this video, when he's on the court, the Pistons' offense is much worse than when he's off. On court, the Pistons' offensive rating drops by 12, and when he's sitting on the bench, it drops by just 3.6. All he really needs to do to fix that is fix his jump shot. Even with just an average three-pointer, defenders will be forced to guard him on the perimeter, which will open up so many opportunities for him to drive, cut, and make plays for his teammates. Circling back to the similar season thingamajig, you're going to be shocked at who is number one for defense. With a similarity score of 98, which means these two are like identical twins, Ausar's defense so far has been most similar to the Great King, Naz Reid. I really expected Rodman to pop up because of the rebounding, defense, and size, but I guess he's Naz Reid. With that, I think it's safe to say he's destined for greatness. He just needs to get more like Naz on offense, then he'll be set. I don't have any doubt that he can't do that either. His work ethic since he was a kid has been insane. Every day growing up, him and Amen would do like 500 push-ups, make 1,000 shots, and run 2 miles while jerking off with their left hand. If only the rest of the Pistons had that type of drive. If you weren't aware, Detroit hasn't won a game since October 28th. They've been one of the worst teams ever. Currently, they sit at 2-19 and are on an 18-game losing streak. They're a complete embarrassment to the NBA. I know in my last video I talked a lot of shit about EuroLeague teams and how they suck compared to NBA teams, but the Pistons are making me rethink my words. As a matter of fact, I can say this with confidence. The Pistons are so bad they would only win by like 10 against the EuroLeague champs. Ausar's Detroit is a lot different from the Detroit Rodman played for. Rodman's Pistons were a bunch of hotheads who got into fights a lot, but that was because they cared. The current Pistons look like they couldn't give two shits about winning. I feel like Ausar is also similar to Rodman in the sense that he's a ceiling raiser. The dude needs a better team for us to see just how good he really is. Speaking of the Worm, since Crafted NBA didn't seem to think Ausar and the Worm were similar, I went to Basketball Reference to compare their rookie years, and what I found was pretty interesting. Although Dennis averaged half the minutes Ausar does, adjusted per 100 possessions, the two have eerily similar stats. They put up pretty much the same rebounds, steals, blocks, points, and even fouls. Really, the only difference between the two is Ausar takes jump shots, and he'll probably also never become friends with the supreme leader of North Korea. I'm not saying the two are the exact same, but they're pretty damn similar. While defense is Ausar's strong suit, many players struggle with it, especially white dudes and Europeans. Over in Europe, they play a different brand of basketball. It's less athleticism and more teamwork, so sometimes when EuroLeague players give the NBA a shot, they can't keep up. Even the best of the best EuroLeague players struggle with this. You can click here to watch the video I made on the topic. Thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. Bye, dude.